It's when the priests talk about Christian idolatry.
What is
الوثنية المسيحية. لحد هنا وكان ممكن لو انت ساذج او مش واخد بالك او مش فاهم هو بيقول ايه، بيقول لك اكتر حاجه صدمتني ويعني قتلتني في قلبي الوثنيه لما تحدث الكاهن العظيم او الشيطان الكبير عن الوثنيه المسيحيه. وعلى فكره هو طول الفيديو بيقول على الشيطان العظيم جريت ماستر، يعني السيد العظيم، السيد العظيم، بيقولوش على السيد العظيم طول الفيديو، بس هي كانت بتعين الحته دي. هتسمعوا وانا احطه ازاي ما هو السيد العظيم بتاعه اللي هو بيخدمه، اللي هو خدام عنده لغايه دلوقتي، بيقول لك اتصدمت واتضربت في صميم قلبي لما قال ايه، لما قال الوثنيه المسيحيه. وكنت اتخيل انه هيقول مثلا ان الوصيه الثانيه بتقول لا تصنع لك تمثالا منحوتا ولا صوره مما في السماء ولا من فوق ولا من تحت ولا من تحت الارض، لا تسجد لهن ولا تعبدهن، دي الوصيه الثانيه. لكن لا، طلعت الوثنيه المسيحيه هتبقى ايه؟ مصيبه بقى، مصيبه. هيقول كذبه كبيره، كذبه السنين بقى، ان انت تصدق ان انت انسان ليك روح بعد الموت هتروح في مكان، ان انت تصدق ان انت ليك خلود، ان انت تصدق ان النفس بتاعتك دي حيه. لا، انت عايز يقول لك ان انت انتهيت، ولو صدقت ان انت ليك حياه تانية وفي حياه بعد الموت، انت هنا دخلت في الوثنيه المسيحيه. وبكده يبقى انت كده الجريت ماستر بتاعه ده السيد العظيم اهلك ملايين البشر بفكره الخلود، بفكره البقاء بعد الموت. لسه هيبقوا موجودين، لسه عايشين، لسه في حياه تانية. الفكره دي نفسها هو اللي بيقول عليها الوثنيه المسيحيه. لكن الحقيقه الوثنيه المسيحيه هو انك انت تعبد او تسجد لتماثيل او صور، سواء في اي كنيسه بقى، ما نقولش بقى الكنيسه دي والكنيسه دي، كل الاماكن اللي في الدنيا. بصوا يا جماعه، الوثنيه هي ان انت تخلي حد هو الاول في حياتك. لو شغلك هو الاول في حياتك دي وثنيه، انت عبدت شغلك، او انت بتحب مراتك لدرجه الجنون انت عبدت مراتك، ابنك هو قبل ربنا وقبل الدنيا انت عبدت ابنك. الوثنيه مش بس في صوره او في تمثال، الوثنيه في ان انت تحط حد قدام ربنا. فلما زمان كانوا في الشعب القديم كان يقول لهم ايه، انتوا خنتوني خيانه، انتوا كان بيقول عليها الزنا الروحي هو ان انت تعبد حد غيره. الخيانه هو ان انت تحب حد اكتر منه، هو ده الخيانه وهو ده الزنا. فان انت تعمل تسجد للتمثال ولا الصوره، ولا تتخيل ان التمثال ده هيكلمك او الصوره دي هتكلمك، او ان روح فلان اللي مات ده هتنزل وتكلمك، هي دي اللي مصيبه. لكن هو هيقول حاجه تانية، هيحط الحابل على النابل وهيدخلك مصيبه تانية خالص. اسمعوا بقى.
Idolatry. The priest mentioned that word. Tell us what he said, Roger.
He said that Christian idolatry is the most grandiose or great deception that has ever been brought upon the human family, on mankind. And he says, and he boasted that demon spirits are continually defiling.
الأرواح بتنجس الكنائس المسيحية بشكل مستمر. ازاي؟
Christian churches through the avenue of necromancy by using a form of spirit worship that involves hundreds of millions of Christians into idolatry without their being aware of it.
Now, what is necromancy? Define necromancy for me.
Their belief, popular belief of necromancy.
بصوا، استحضار الأرواح هو الاعتقاد بإمكانية استحضارك أرواح الموت. يعني إذا تخيلت إن أنت بتكلم قديس والقديس ده بيكلمك، إذا قعدت تصلي وتقول يا ماري جرجس ولا يا بابا كرولوس، ده استحضار أرواح. لا، وما اكتفاش لغايه كده. لو اكتفى لغايه كده ممكن اقول احتمال يعني يكون عنده جزء من الصح. مش مفروض ان احنا نكلم القديسين بيتقال عليهم في سفر الرؤيا لما صرخوا في السفر في الختم الخامس، واتفتح الختم الخامس وقالوا له الى متى ايها السيد الرب القدوس لا تنتقم لدماء عبيدك من الساكنين على الارض؟ قال لهم خذوا ثياب بيض واستريحوا قليلا حتى يكمل العبيد رفقائكم جهادهم ايضا. ففي سفر الرؤيا الختم الخامس كان في تحت المذبح الذين قتلوا في الارض، الشهداء اللي استشهدوا على اسم المسيح، القديسين، سواء استشهدوا بالدم او بحرقه الدم او بالشهاده او باي طريقه من الطرق. فالقديسين الله اللي عليه كلهم موجودين، والختم الخامس بيشهد عن كده. وبيقولوا له انتقم لنا، قال لهم استنوا لما العبيد بتوعي يخلصوا شغلهم على الارض ويتبهدلوا هم كمان زيكم. طب وايه كمان؟ الهنا اله احياء ولا اله اموات؟ لا، الهنا اله احياء. ليه؟ لانه ظهر مع موسى وإيليا في التجلي وشافوه 3 تلاميذ وكانوا 3 بهيئة واحدة، ودولت ناس مشيوا من الأرض. فإذا إلهنا إله أحياء ولا إله أموات؟ إلهنا إله أحياء. يبقى في قديسين ولا ما فيش؟ لا في. طب هم أحياء ولا لا؟ أحياء. طب بيحسوا بينا وبتاع؟ ما نعرفش. في كل واحد بطيفته، طيفة تقول وطيفة تقول لا، لكن إلهنا إله أحياء، ده الأكيد. والاكيد ان احنا لينا ارواح خالده، والاكيد ان احنا بنتكلم مع ربنا لما بنمشي من هنا، والاكيد ان احنا بنحس كمان، والاكيد ان احنا لما المسيح قال كده، والمسيح بذات نفسه هو اللي قال مش حد تاني، قال ان لما مات الغني ومات العازر، مات العازر فحملته الملائكه، الحمل معناه فوق، ومات الغني فدفن معناه اتدفن تحت. ففي واحد طلع فوق واحد طلع تحت، ومن الجحيم شاف الغني العازر وقال له يا ابي متكئ في حضن ابراهيم، فقال له يا ابي ابراهيم، يا ابي ابراهيم ارسل العازر ليبل طرف لساني بنقطه ميه. فقال له بيننا وبينكم هو عظيمه قد اثبتت. فقال له طب خلي العازر يروح لاخواتي الخمسه عشان مش عايزهم يجوا هنا. قال له عندهم موسى والانبياء، مالوش عندهم اخنوخ، مالوش عندهم موسى واخنوخ والانبياء، قال له عندهم موسى والانبياء. فقال له لو قام واحد من الاموات لا يؤمنون، وكان كأن المسيح بيتكلم عن نفسه ذات نفسه، لما هيقوم هو ذات نفسه من الموت برضه كهنه اليهود هيستنوا ينكروه، مجمع السنهدريم اللي هي بتتكلم عنه برضه هيستنى ينكر ويحارب ويدافع عن عقائد وعن حاجات عشان يموت الروح ويموت النمو ويموت الولاده الجديده في الكنيسه. خلينا نشوف الشيطان ده وهو بيعلن مصيبه بقى حقيقيه. بصوا كده، وهي عمرها ما جابتها وعمرها ما كانت هتجيبها، عشان تعرفوا في الاخر الراجل ده ايه. الراجل ده هقول لكم في الاخر ده ايه. اتكلم يا عم روجر.
Is to conjure the spirits of the dead.
So you can speak with someone who is died at the seance that you originally went of necromancy.
Now, the priest says that the super deception is brought about in only one way. Through the deceptive belief that man has an immortal soul that lives on after death.
اهي بس تعال اهي. بصوا الخديعه العظيمه تتم بطريقه واحده بس. يوم ما تتاكد ان انت ليك روح خالده، يوم ما تتاكد ان انت ليك حياه بعد الموت، دي هنا هي دي الخداع العظيم اللي ضل ملايين البشر. هو كذاب ولا صادق هنا؟ ده مسيحي؟ ده يعرف المسيح؟ ده كده كذب المسيح، ده كده طعن الانجيل طعنه قاتله، لانه خلى في طب فين المسيح اللي قال لي خراف اخرى من لما المسيح قال كده انا ذاهب لاعد لكم مكان ومتى اعددت لكم مكان اتي ايضا واخذكم الي حتى حيث اكون انا تكونون انتم ايضا. ده بيقول راح اعد مكان وجاي اخدكم. طب قال في بيت ابي منازل كثيره والا فاني كنت قد قلت لكم، لو ما عنديش مكان كنت قلت لكم ما عنديش، ده انا عندي اماكن كتيره قوي. مش قال كده؟ مش قال للص اللي كان على الصليب جنبه اليوم تكون معي في الفردوس؟ تكون معاه في الفردوس ازاي وهيموت دلوقتي؟ يعني ملوش روح خلاص حسب سير روجر بتاع منال. شوفوا بقى هنا، بصوا كويس قوي عشان دي تنهي الموضوع كله. انتوا مش محتاجين حلقات كتير تعرفوا انها كدابه. منال انتهت النهارده بالحلقه دي. اذا كنتوا عايزين تحسوا ان هي كدابه 1,000,000% فهي كدابه 1,000,000% بالحلقه دي. اسمعوا كويس كده تاني.
In Boston that demon spirits are continually defiling Christian churches through the avenue of necromancy by using a form of spirit worship that involves hundreds of millions of Christians into idolatry without their being aware of it.
Now, what is necromancy? Define necromancy for me.
Their popular belief of necromancy, is to conjure the spirits of the dead.
So you can speak with someone who has died. Right. The seance that you originally went to was the practice of necromancy.
Now, the priest says that the super deception is
الخديعة العظمى ايه؟
in only one way.
طريقة واحدة.
Through the deceptive
من الاعتقاد المضلل بأن الإنسان يملك روح خالدة تعيش بعد الموت. اسمعوا كده.
belief that man has an immortal soul that lives on after death. And he said that constitutes idolatry.
وقد قال ذلك بشكل عبادة الأصنام في خلال استحضار الأرواح. يعني الخديعة العظيمة اللي هو الحقيقية بقى اللي هو جاي بيها من عند إبليس، إن لو الناس صدقوا إن لهم روح خالدة هي دي نهاية كل اللي يصدق. أي حد يصدق إن هو ليه روح خالدة يبقى انتهى، يبقى هو كده ضرب الإنجيل في مقتل. صح؟ كل الكلام كذب، مفيش روح. عارفين زي ايه؟ زي اللي في فيلسوف قال فلنأكل ولنشرب لأننا غدا نموت. مفيش حياة بعد الموت يا جماعة. اللي بيموت زي الحشرات، بيموت ويندفن، خلصت زي الحيوانات، كل وشرب ومات خلاص. ده الراجل ده جاي يقول كده. لكن احنا لينا حياة خالدة ولا لا؟ ده كل الأديان العادية الطبيعية. المسيح قال ومسلمين مصدقين ان لهم أرواح خالدة، وكل العبادات كتير من العبادات مصدقين ان لهم أرواح خالدة. لكن ده جاي يقول ايه؟ لو صدقت ان ليك روح خالده هي دي الخديعه العظيمه. يبقى مين بقى اللي جاي يخدعنا الخديعه العظيمه؟ اكتشفتوا؟ الكذاب واللي جايباك كدابه هم اللي جايين يخدعوا الناس الخديعه العظيمه. فلما تقطع لك من فيديو ساعه 5 دقايق وتمشي بيهم حلقتها وتحليها، كل حلقه تعمل عامله زي كده. كان زمان الناس الفقراء يجيبوا الدهنه او ليه الخروف عشان مش لاقيين ياكلوا، فيعملوا ايه؟ يقلوا السمنه والبصله بحته دهنه كده عشان تطلع ريحه الاكل، ريحه الطعم من الاكل. فهي جايبه الفيديو وبتقطع منه كل حته تعمل منه ريحه كده. البنت جايبه حد جاي من الماسونيين يعلن اخبار ويطلع بقى ده ماسوني وده ماسوني وده ماسوني وده ماسوني. عشان ايه؟ عشان الماسوني ده اعلن لها اسرار الشيطان، وده اساسا شيطان، ده اساسا شيطان. وايه يعني؟ مش بس ماسوني، لكن ماسوني ويدعو للسبتيه كمان. استنوا وشوفوا، اسمعوا.
Idolatry through necromancy. So he says there are hundreds of millions of Christians that are practicing idolatry. What do you think? They're glorifying God. See?
Because they believe that the soul is immortal.
Yeah.
They may not be talking to.
يعني لو صدق ان اللي روح خالده من غير ما يتكلم مع ارواح الموتى، من غير ما يستحضر اي حد، من غير ما يامن باي قديسين، من غير ما يعمل اي حاجه، بمجرد ان انت بس تصدق ان انت ليك روح خالده، انت رحت في داهيه. خلاص نزلت في الخديعه العظيمه للراجل الكبير الشيطان العظيم اللي عملها.
Supposed spirits of the dead.
Contrary to popular belief, necromancy does not consist of conjuring the spirits of the dead. The reason being that man is totally mortal and does not possess an immortal soul. So who are they talking to? He says they're friendly demon spirits that have always found over the centuries great delight in impersonating apparitions.
بيقول لك بصوا طب بيقول له طب واستحضار الارواح ده مين اللي بيتكلم؟ قال له لا الارواح اللي هي الودوده الطيبه هي عايشه طول عمرها على ان هي تبقى في متعتها في ان هي تقلد اصوات الناس اللي ماتت واصوات الناس المشهورين واصوات الناس القديسين، عشان يخدعوا الناس ان في حياه بعد الموت. فعشان يخدعوا الناس بالخديعه الجامده جدا دي بييجوا يقلدوا اصوات الناس اللي ماتت او اصوات الناس القديسين عشان احنا نصدق ان لنا روح خالده فنروح في 60 داهيه. طب ما هو كده ضرب كل حاجه، صح ولا غلط؟ فاهمين ولا لا؟ فاهمين؟ كملوا.
Ones and persons of great renown.
Now, friendly demon spirits.
Friendly demon spirits.
Are there more than one kind of demon
Oh, yeah.
spirits, Roger?
Well, there's 3 main.
هنا بقى هيقسم الشياطين اللي هي جابتها في حلقات تانية. قسمت الشياطين، في شياطين ودوده ودي هي اللي اتجوزت الناس. هي بقى قبل كده الشياطين الودوده الطيبه دي اللي بتقعد تقلد الناس وتعمل اصوات امك وجدتك وخالتك والناس اللي ماتوا، دي اسمها الارواح الودوده الطيبه، وديت اللي تزوجت مع الناس عشان دي كانت ارواح طيبه. 3 تقسيمات للشياطين هيقسمهم.
And then there's divisions within those divisions. You have the friendly demon spirits
الودوده
that seem to have
رقه وصفاء مش مزعجه خالص.
They're not upset about what happened when they were thrown out of heaven, from what I gather. Then you have the warriors. They're like
المحاربين بيدخلوا البؤس والدمار والاكتئاب ويقرفوا الناس في حياتهم، يخلوهم يتملوا حزن وتعب وامراض. دول اللي هم المحاربين.
bring misery and destruction in the lives of people. Then you have the oppressors. The oppressors are the real wicked spirits that hate God with all of their.
الجبارين بقى والمستبدين دول اللي بيكرهوا ربنا وبيكرهوا الناس، ودول اللي وحشين جدا جدا. دول مش كتير، دول حبه صغيرين كده. على فكره هو كان في الاول الفيديو، انا هحسب لكم الفيديو بقول لكم كله. في اول الفيديو بيقول ان انا اكتشفت ان الشياطين طيبين وهاديين وحلوين وشكلهم حلو، ما تخضتش، مش زي ما كنت متخيل عنهم يعني. فبيمهد لك السكه، يعني لو عايز تروح تتعلم عشان تبقى مشهور او عشان تبقى غني او عشان تنجح في الطب او في اي مجال انت فيه، فممكن يعني حاجه اتعلم شويه حاجات بسيطه مش هيحصل حاجه يعني. وهي كانت بتعلمكم يعني، هي كانت بتمهد تفتح سكه لابليس.
The creator with all of their might, you know. So he went on explaining. He says, now necromancy is in reality a belief, a religious belief. People believe that the dead have entered into a higher state of existence than they had when they were alive. Also that they are in a position and have the capacity to help the living here on earth. See? Then he says this is where things get.
هنا بقى بيقول لك كده كل الاشياء تصبح مثيره للاهتمام. لما منال جت في اول حلقاتها وقالت انا عندي حاجات في منتهى الخطوره، هنتكلم على عالم الروح، هنتكلم على مش عارفه ايه. هو بقى لك ان الشيطان لما بيقعد يعمل في الارواح دي ده حاجات دينيه وحاجات بيستخدموها المتدينين، ودي حاجات مثيره، وفي الاثاره دي بقى بياخد عمرك وبياخد مخك وبياخد تركيزك وبيسيطر عليك وبيعمل لك كل حاجه. الراجل صراحه هنا وفى وكفى. للي عايز يفهم مين منال هيفهم من الفيديو ده. ليه؟ لانها قالت اجزاء منه تخدم قضيتها في كل حاجه بتتكلم فيها ولزقتها للناس، ونسيت توري لكم ان الراجل ده بيقول ان اللي هيتخيل ان عنده روح خالده ده ضايع وده هالك وده الشيطان حط عليه خلاص. يبقى مين اللي الشيطان؟ هو وهي.
Really interesting. He said according to the great master.
سامعين؟ بيقول على السيد العظيم جريت ماستر، بيقول على الشيطان، ما بيقولوش الشيطان ابدا، عمره ما نزل من قيمته، دايما يقول السيد العظيم.
Does not have to supposedly call upon the spirits of the dead to receive help, you see, to be involved in the necromancy. All he needs to do is to believe in life after death.
كل اللي هيؤمن بالحياه بعد الموت يقدر كانه بالظبط بيحضر ارواح، بالظبط، حتى لو ما حضرش ارواح. هو بيقول كده كل اللي هيؤمن بالحياه بعد الموت كانه بيحضر ارواح، وكانه دخل تحت قياده السيد العظيم اللي هو الشيطان، حتى لو ما عملهاش خالص، حتى لو بيقعد يعبد ربنا بس ما عملش اي حاجه غير انه صدق ان هو روح خالده. شفتوا؟ في خداع اكتر من كده وفي كذب اكتر من كده.
Said necromancy is the belief that man is human, as a human being, as a immortal soul. So anybody that believes that man has an immortal soul is involved in necromancy.
سمعتوا؟
It's as simple. That's the way he explained it. Yeah.
So how does that constitute idolatry?
By people believing that they are either talking to the saints, you see, the spirits of the dead saints, or a dead relative, or a dead person of some type. And you take, for instance, like Loretta Lynn.
بص قال له ازاي دي تعتبر عباده وثنيه، ازاي دي تعتبر وثنيه مسيحيه. دخله في متاهه تانية خالص، نفس ما لوسيفر بالظبط، خده في متاهه تانية وقال له مش عارفه مين المغنيه اللي ما كانتش عارفه تغني، ولما جات لها روح صاحبتها عرفت تغني ودخلت لها الروح وعملت لها الروح. طلع من الموضوع ما عرفش يشرحه. يعني بدل ما يقول له يعني ايه، بيقولوا يعني ايه وثنيه مسيحيه، بس هم الثلاثه دي خطه، هم الثلاثه يا اما هو منيم الاثنين دول مغناطيسي وحاطط عليهم ارواح، يا اما في خطه مسبقه. الثلاثه بيغنوا ويردوا على بعض، الثلاثه جايين يلعبوا بالناس وبعقل الناس، ويقولوا ان هم جايين يكشفوا خطه الشيطان، وجايين مع الراجل اللي رجع من الماسونيه وهو اساسا جاي يتوه الناس في بحر من الضلمه وبحر من الضياع. كملوا.
National television, and I have the data on it. That I heard it myself. She said that she was made successful in her singing career by a dear friend of hers that was the same age as she, and died when she was 18 years of age. And Loretta was trying to get into the singing world, you know, but it would. She says I had no success at all until one night I was sitting in bed reading a book. And she says, who walks right through the wall but my friend, the spirit of my friend. And she says, Loretta, I'm going to make you a very famous person in singing Western. That when people believe in this business, they are actually opening themselves to be completely deceived by demon spirits, because it gives the demon spirits an opportunity to impersonate the dead. See? And for people to believe their lies. And the priest says that thrills first of all, it says it brings the great master the respect and the reverence that is due to his great name. And it makes all the other spirits exceedingly happy, because they are the ones that have worked to lead people to believe in life after death.
الحياة بعد الموت حقيقة يا جماعة. الحياة بعد الموت حقيقة، ولو ما فيش حياة بعد الموت قال لك لو كانت لنا هنا الحياة هنا فقط فنحن أشقى جميع الناس. موريس قال كده، لو كانت الحياة هنا بس يبقى احنا أشقى جميع الناس، لأن احنا بنعيش هنا مستنيين منتظرين المدينة السماوية أو أورشليم السماوية النازلة من عند الله، المدينة اللي ليها الأساسات اللي صنعها وبارئها هو الله. لو كنا هنعيش هنا ونموت هنا وبس نبقى احنا أغلب وأخيب كائنات جت على الأرض، لأن احنا لسه ما عشناش أي حاجة، احنا هنا بس عايشين نتغلب. فلو ما فيش حياة بعد الموت يبقى احنا فعلا، يبقى المسيح مات بلا سبب. والإنجيل واضح جدا في الكلام ده، قال إن لم تكن حياة بعد الموت إذن يبقى المسيح مات بلا سبب. المسيح لما جه هنا جه عشان يفدينا، عشان يرد الانسان لمرتبته الاولى، وموجود في القداس الكلام ده. بيقول له لم تكن انت المحتاج الى عبوديتي، بل انا المحتاج الى ربوبيتك. جيت عشان تردنا لمرتبتنا الاولى اللي وقعنا منها. لكن ده مش بس جه ردنا لمرتبتنا الاولى، ده ردنا للاعظم منها. ده احنا كنا عبيد وبقينا ابناء. قال لما قال كده، هو حد يخفي على ابنه حاجه؟ العبد ما يعرفش، لكن الابن يعرف. عشان كده قال لنا، قال ان انا بقول لكم كل حاجه عشان تبقوا فاهمين وعارفين كل حاجه. فقال هبعت لكم الروح القدس يعلمكم ويفهمكم ويرشدكم بكل شيء ويذكركم بكل ما قلته لكم. ففي حياه بعد الموت. ايوه الراجل ده كذاب، ايوه الراجل ده كذاب، واللي استعانت بيه عشان تقول لكم ان ده جاي يكشف لكم الحقيقه كذابه بنت الكذاب، وجايبه راجل كذاب جاي من الجحيم. صدقته؟ فهمته؟ على فكره مش دي القنبله اللي انا كنت محضراها، دي جت في السكه كده باي ذا واي.
And they rejoice also. And that's the extent of what
Christian idolatry is all about. Friendly spirits, just to digress for just a moment, you mentioned 3 different categories, and the friendly spirits are the ones that love to impersonate a being, a historian or something.
We specialize in them.
In your experiences in the praise services or in the worship room or the other places where you were, any of the places you were, did you ever witness an event where
you would need 3 people, but you wanted 5 people that volunteer to be during World War II. It was the voice of Chameleon Hood.
Now, how did you know that it was the voice?
Are striking the planet more readily accepted when will strike the planet more and more frequently. The spirits at that time are going to put all their effort to impress religious leaders.
دي خدعه تانية. بيقول انها خدعه عظيمه جدا، ان كل القاده الدينيين هيحطوا كل الناس ان هم يخلوهم اهلهم ان هم يعملوا العباده يوم الحد، وهو ده اللي هيرجي غرور ابليس. ماشي، دي خدعه. دي بيقول ان الخدعه عظيمه اللي ما حصلتش بقى، ودي عملت عليها حلقات ان السبت هو يوم الرب، وان الحد ده يوم اله الشمس، وان اله الشمس حاطط الهالات اللي على الصور بتاعه القديسين، وان هو بيعبد لما انت بتروح الكنيسه يوم الحد او بتروح اي حته يوم الحد تعبد، انت كده كانك بتعبد ابليس وبتديله فرصه وكذا وكذا. كل الافلام الهندي اللي عملتها بناء على كلام السبتيين، اللي الراجل ده منهم. الراجل ده سبتي ماسوني، وهي سبتيه ماسونيه، هي سبتيه ماسونيه زيه بالظبط. فهي النبي يعلن ان السبت هو يوم الرب، وان اللي غير اليوم دوت يبقى هو اللي بيعبد الشيطان. المسيح لما جه اكل خلى تلاميذه اكلوا يوم السبت، وشافها يوم السبت، ودخل المجمع وشافها يوم السبت، واقام المفلوج يوم السبت. قال له قم واحمل سريرك. مش بس هو عمل معجزه، لكن كمان قوم الراجل وخلاه يمشي، يشيل سريره ويمشي. فلما شافوه اليهود قالوا له انت ايه اللي انت عامله ده؟ قال لهم اللي شافاني قال لي شيل وامشي. قالوا له مين شافاك؟ ده اكيد في شيطان. قال لهم ما اعرفش، فونتوا بقى. وراح وقوم الست المنحنيه اللي كان عندها كوبه في ظهرها، قال حط ايده على ظهرها، شافت يوم السبت. قالوا له عندك 6 ايام تيجي وتشفي، لكن النهارده ما تعملش كده. قال لهم هذه ابنه ابراهيم قد ربطها الشيطان 12 سنه، وانتوا جايين تزعلوا قوي لما فكها النهارده. وعمل كده يوم السبت. ليه بقى؟ لانه جه يقول الانسان لاجل السبت، لا السبت لاجل الانسان. طب انت كنت عطوه لنا ليه شريعه؟ معلش، لو انت اللي عاطينا شريعه وبتقول ان السبت قدسوا يوم السبت، وفي شريعه تقديس السبت، ليه جاي تكسر؟ جاي تقول كده ليه؟ لان انتوا كسرتوا كل حاجه. انتوا جايين على الحاجات الرمزيه وجايين تمسكوا. انتوا كسرتوا كل حاجه. انتوا عشرتوا النعنع والشبت والكمون، وجيتوا على اثقل الناموس وبلعتوه الايمان والمحبه. وانتوا بلعتوا اثقل الناموس وجايين تمسكوا على الواحده وعلى الهايفه. انتوا كسرتوا كل حاجه. كملوا. وبعدين لما جه المسيح قام يوم الحد، مش قام فجر الاحد. ولما ظهر لتلاميذه في العليه ظهر يوم الحد، صح؟ ولما طلع يوم الخمسين كان يوم الحد، صح؟ ولما كانوا التلاميذ بيجتمعوا كانوا بيبقى يوم الحد، صح؟ اذا الحد السبت الاثنين الثلاث بقت كل الايام بعد المسيح. احنا عايشين في السماويات. احنا بعد المسيح عايشين في امجاد القيامه. احنا عايشين في سماء مش في ارض. المفروض ان اما انا وبيتي فنعبد الرب. اما انا فصلاه. انا بصلي طول الايام مش سبت بس. ما بقاش اقدس السبت بس، انا بقدس كل الايام. انا كلي مقدسه ليه. لكن هي بقى ايه حرفيه السبتيين في يوم السبت؟ اسمعوا بقى الهنا اللي انتوا فيه دلوقتي.
Perfect happiness for 1000 years is what the Spirit is going to promise.
Almost like the Garden of Eden created all over again.
And now we find that a lot of preachers are preaching the great age of glorious new age of victory over wars, victory over social unrest, victory over famines, and victory over all kinds of...
and he used the words New Age to describe what was coming.
It would be a glorious new age, yeah. And this is exactly what the movement is all about today. And he went on and said, as I said a little earlier, that as life on this planet becomes more and more difficult, and calamities will strike the planet more and more frequently, the spirits at that time are going to put all their effort to impress religious leaders, to bring before the masses of the earth the sacredness of Sunday. See? They will teach Sunday sacredness. And with the religious leaders, looking forward to 1,000 years of perfect peace on earth, they will put all their effort into it. Then laws will be passed by governments. One person asked, what's going to happen about people that don't believe in the Spirit's recommendation? The priest said, that's no problem at all. Laws will be passed by governments that will force people to go along with it, regardless of whether they believe in it or not. And he says the law enforcement officers will explain to people, make it clear that such a law is necessary to assure the well-being of all people. He says the laws will be passed, no effort at all. And then he went on and he said about the fact that the vulnerability of the sun.
هو مصمم ان اليوم الحد هو يوم المخصص لعبادة الشمس وعبادة الشيطان. اي حد هيعبد فيه، والقادة الدينيين كلهم هيقودوا الناس، وحتى لو القادة الدينيين فشلوا الحكومات لوحدها هتقود الناس فتعمل الاجازات يوم الحد عشان يقدسوا يوم الحد. يعني هو اليوم ده هو اللي يعني هيهد الدنيا، واخدين بالكم؟ هو ده بس ده الخطة العظيمة لضياع البشر، انك تآمن ان انت ليك روح خالدة وان انت تعبد ربنا يوم الحد.
Which in ages past was such an irritant to the Creator. All of these great nations and other nations, the smaller ones, were all involved in sun worship. And in those centuries, the Creator found that teaching of worship of the sun to be a terrible irritant. And he said, it is going again to take place, but not in worshiping the sun, in remembering Sunday to keep it holy. He made a statement I will never forget. He says, by the observance of the day upon which the master, Satan, has placed the unction of his authority and power.
بصوا الشيطان الكذاب ابو كل كذاب، يعني حتى لو كان في يوم من الايام عمل عباداته زي ما بيقول سان داي يوم الشمس، لكن لما المسيح قام يوم الحد هو شمس البر وفي اجنحته شفاء. فالمسيح حتى لو كان في رمز ليه انه الصن داي يوم الشمس، هو قام في اليوم ده، فالرمز اصبح حقيقه. فمش الشيطان اللي هو السيد العظيم اللي بيعبد يوم الحد وحط كل قوته يوم الحد، لكن السيد العظيم فعلا اسمه سيد المسيح، وهو اللي قام يوم الحد وقدس يوم الحد. نقدس بقى الحد ونقدس السبت ونقدس الجمعه، لان الجمعه على فكره كمان من الايام اللي بيتقال عليها فيها ساعه سودة وبتترفع فيها الاصوات في كل حته وشغاله على اخر ما عندهم. ليه؟ عشان يلغوش ابليس على الوكسه اللي اتوكسها يوم الجمعه. ففي يوم الجمعه المسيح لما انتصر فوق الصليب، انتصر فوق الصليب، اشهر الرياسات وجردهم كلهم واشهرهم جهارا ظافرا بهم في الصليب. ده كان يوم الجمعه. فهو يوم الجمعه بيحاول يعمل عباده على قد ما يقدر، لان ده يومه بقى، ده يومه. الحقوني صوتوا على اخر ما عندكم، صوتوا عشان انسى اليوم الاسود اللي جالي. ده ابليس اللي بيقول، ابليس بيقول صوتوا عشان انسى ان اليوم ده انا اتكسرت فيه تحت الصليب. بيصوتوا كلهم عشان يحاولوا يدوله يتنفس احسن. اليوم ده هو اليوم اللي اتسحق فيه، يومه فعلا يوم الجمعه، مش يومه ده، اليوم اللي اتسحق فيه. فهو بياخد مجد مجد مجد، عايز المجد كله يرجع له يوم الجمعه، عشان يوم الجمعه ده يقدر يقاوم ويعدي الذكرى اللي هي الاسبوعيه اللي السنويه اللي بيعملها كل جريت فرايداي. الجمعه العظيمه او كل جمعه بيفتكر ان هو اليوم ده اتكسرت رقبته، فبيبقى عايز كل الناس انها تصلي له وتصرخ له وتعبده عشان ينسى الوكسه اللي اتوكسها يوم الجمعه. في يوم الجمعه ما فيهوش ساعه سوداء، ده في ساعه فل علينا احنا كلنا، لان اليوم ده ربنا انتصر لنا كلنا. اما يوم الحد فاليوم اللي قام فيه المسيح، مش بتاع الشمس لكن بتاع الشمس البر اللي في اجنحته الشفاء يسوع المسيح. واما الايام فكلها اصبحت مقدسه. فاما السبت هو نفسه قال السبت لاجل الانسان مش الانسان لاجل السبت. اما هذا الرجل فسبتي شيطاني ابليس وجاي يضل لو امكن المختارين. اما منال فحته منه بالظبط. وبكده تكون الحلقه انتهت، واشكركم والى اللقاء في حلقه جديده. خلينا نكمل الفيديو ده، خليهم يكملوه.
How would you like to talk to the spirit of your dead mother? And I was shocked. I was shocked. We were cast out of heaven. He says there was a misunderstanding in the whole thing. He said among the inhabitants of the galaxies. And he says our master was misunderstood. And he says our master was misunderstood. And he says our master was misunderstood. And God did not bear with him like he does with people that make mistakes today. So we're in a warfare.
هذا الرجل فسبتي شيطاني ابليس وجاي يضل لو امكن المختارين. اما منال فحته منه بالظبط.
Good against evil. And we happen to be the evil ones, but we're not that bad. He says, I look at this business between the force of good and evil. He says, you believe in one person believe in God, another one believe in Lucifer. It's like politics.
So the great controversy is real. And you've heard someone talk about it that's on the other side.
And to these people, they are sold to the fact that Christ will not return to this planet with power and great glory. He's going to abdicate all claims to the planet, because the high priest once said that Christ will abdicate all claim to the planet because he knows that it is lawfully and rightfully Satan's. That Christ will abdicate all claim to the planet because he knows that it is lawfully.
هذا الرجل فسبتي شيطاني ابليس وجاي يضل لو امكن المختارين. اما منال فحته منه بالظبط.
And rightfully Satan's. And at that time he says, Lucifer. You mentioned Lucifer a lot of times. But they mention Satan also. He says, the master, usually they like to talk about the master. The master will resurrect his people from the grave. The place was a mansion. Now, a mansion is usually very large. We call this a small mansion. It was beautiful. Most beautiful place. Yeah.
Roger, your friend George took you and Roland to this mansion where people worshipped the demons. What was it like there? What kind of people were there?
Well, it was a big surprise for me, as I kind of made up in my mind an idea that they were going to be rough-looking characters. But as we entered the place, I was amazed to see that they were all very well dressed, well-mannered, and that a lot of the people, as we were being introduced to people, were professionals, doctors, attorneys, a lot of business people. And see what they had? They had a praise session to the gods, which is the spirit counselors, which are in charge of legions of spirits, of demon spirits. And they talk about what the Lord of their lives has done for them. Because they call on particular spirits, like the god Nehushtan, which you read in 2 King about. The Israelites worshipped the golden serpent that Moses had made. Well, behind the spirit worship, behind that, they were worshipping the serpent. They were actually worshipping this spirit Nehushtan. And the same spirit Nehushtan is, the press was telling us, that the medical doctor that was telling us how he was making operations that had never been made before, because people had to be awake, have no feeling. He was able to, carry on the surgeries that had not been done before. But the spirits would give the capacity to be able to operate without people feeling any pain and things. And also without no problem with the blood, because as he would cut his incision, because incisions, everything open with no blood running. So he could do the work that has not been done before. So.
Now, I recall reading in your book that at this praise worship service they had, they would sing hymns. Why would they sing hymns in a demon worship?
Yeah, this was kind of a big surprise to me when that took place. The priest said, hey, let's go down to the worship room of the gods and have a praise session, a singing session. So we go down there, and what do you think they pass around? Church hymnals. Christian church hymnals. And I couldn't believe this. I said, what's his business? So the priest says, well, now, he says, for those of you that are new, let me tell you that this is the most feasible way, he says, to please the spirits. It's to deride Christ and his people, and his church and all that. So they sing out of Christian hymnals.
They didn't sing Christian words to the hymns, however.
Well, they changed a lot of them. Yeah,
and not
it's a form of blasphemy. Yeah. Such as you see today in the rock music world. You see the entertainers, they have these crosses. The ladies got earrings, crosses. The guys got the cross. This is a form of blasphemy, a form of deriding Christ. You see, after the most people had left, he says, the master of my life has revealed to me that it is time for you people to become acquainted with the worship room of the gods. Well, we started to move toward a beautiful grand staircase. Beautiful. The banister was huge. It was massive, and the wrought iron work that they had done in it was super. The beautiful decorations on the walls, the chandelier on the first landing. So that was the first landing. You go down about 8 or 10 steps, and you had the first landing. It was huge and beautiful. The light arrangement was the nicest I had ever seen in my life. When we got into this sanctuary area, it wasn't very brightly lit, but everything was magnified. The beauty of certain things, like a lot of the things were gold plated or gold trims. You see, the little altars where they had the spirits that had materialized. They photographed them, and then they had paintings made of them. And there was probably about maybe 100 of those around the place.
Sort of like a shrine.
Yeah, and underneath there was a little altar where you have incense and things that they would use in their prayer sessions and things like that, devotions to certain spirits. And some of the objects in there, the priest said, were solid gold. It was a unique experience to see that.
So how did you feel when you walked into that room?
I felt that these people had power, and they had a lot of it.
Did that attract you?
Yes and no.
You had mixed feelings about it?
I had mixed feelings about it, yeah. Because to a certain extent, things looked so good. It sounded so good to us. But you see, I'd been brought up in a Christian home where my parents had told us we were 8 children in the family. And especially the older ones, my dad says, well, if you get involved in wrongdoing, you're going to have to pay the price. There's always a cost for everything in this world. So this thought kept creeping to my mind. Just how far you go with these spirits before we start paying the price. See?
So it made you just a little bit nervous.
Oh, yes.
But yet you kept going back.
Oh, there was no way out. Because that's what we're told.
You knew at that time.
Yeah.
So you were moving forward more on fear.
More on fear, yes. Because the high priest said that the master had special plans for us in our lives. And that no one ever went into the society unless they were invited by the spirits. See, so that was made very clear. And he also expressed to us the danger, explained to us the danger of going against the will of the spirits. And he mentioned about this one man and his wife that live in a fireproof building in Montreal. The place burned right down with him in it. He was one of their members that had decided that, well, he wanted to think things over. He was not going to get initiated at a time that the spirit said he would like him to be initiated into the society.
So in reality, Roger, you were chosen by high-powered demon spirits to be a part of their human, special, privileged group.
You see, these people in Montreal, the society, like the priest mentioned, there's thousands of spirit worshippers in only different societies of spirit worshippers in this world. But he says we are the elite. We know the real truth about the Master and his angels. And they are not hideous looking beings. They are gorgeous creatures. And from the paintings that they had on the wall of the walls of that worship room, they were unique beings. Especially there was a painting full size, full length painting of the fallen Lucifer above his altar, and that was very fascinating because he looked like a man of great intellect, high forehead, the way that he looked with his eyes, the way he had the eyes looking. It gave you a depth of perception of somebody that is very, very knowledgeable and powerful. Yeah.
So Roger, this high priest that you talked about, he is the one that ushered you down into the worship room. Was he also the one that led out in the praise sessions that you talked about?
Yes, and he had an assistant also, another priest.
Okay. Now, when you would go to these praise sessions, what kinds of things happened at those sessions?
Well, there's a lot of success stories.
Positive mental attitude kinds of things?
Well, yes, a lot of success stories. The Masters has done this for me and that for me. I remember one lumber dealer, he had like half a dozen different operations in parts of Quebec, and everything that he touched seemed to turn to money. And he was telling about it. And then there's this other person that was a clairvoyant that would work only for the wealthy people, only for the super wealthy. He says, I have the know-how, they have the means, let them pay. So he advised in business transactions. They would come to him and say, listen, I look at this deal that I might get, this factory or whatever it is, because this person was interested in industrial real estate, see. And he would talk to the spirit, and then the spirit was audible to him. See, you could hear the spirit talk to him, but the man did not hear. So the spirit was telling the clairvoyant what he called himself an astrologer, reading the moons and the stars, and
Now, what was the term you used for his title, this man?
Clairvoyant.
Clairvoyant.
Oh, clairvoyant.
Clairvoyant. Okay. Yes, and it was interesting. This person stood up and says, I had a nice little experience last week. And he says, the Master, he says, they take care of you. This lady and her husband brought him to this astrologer a bundle of money. They said, this is the deal that you... And he works at only on percentages. Only on percentages. He doesn't work for set amounts of money. Only percentages of what the people are going to make. So he said, they brought me a substantial amount of money. And they were very happy with it, and I thought it was very reasonable. But then my guide, spirit, says, ask them when they're going to give you the other $1,700 that is really yours. And he says to the folks, I would like to know now, before we leave here, when will you have the $1,700 to give me? That makes up my part of, rightful part of the deal. The wife fainted, and the husband says, we'll have the money for you in 24 hours. So that was this type of priest.
So he was thanking the demons for helping him to know that.
So yeah, demon spirits, yeah.
At what point did this demon worship start to affect you personally, Roger?
Well, it wasn't too long that the priest mentioned to us that the time had arrived for us to start trusting the spirits and give the spirits a chance to work for us. And there was a number of gifts that you could choose from. you see. And I used to play the horses, some. Not knowledgeable at all. I used to go to those bookies, you know, play the horses often, but I said, hey, I would like to be able to, for the spirit to instruct me on the numbers and the name of the horses that's going to win, you know, at Belmont or some other racetracks like that. Make myself a little money. So the priest says it'll be given you. And sure enough, one night whether I fell into a trance or dreamed the thing, I don't know exactly what happened, but I saw 3 races that were really going to pay big. And these horses were dummies, so to speak. You know what I mean? They were not really good horses. They were like one horse paid 21 to 1 because he was that poor, right? The chance of winning was so poor that they paid 21 to 1 on him. And it showed me that I saw the board, the bookie, and the number on it. And I went there, and they said it was going to be on Saturday. That was like on Wednesday. A few days later, it was Saturday. I went there, and sure enough, there they were on the boards. I went to the wicket and handed some money and got myself a winner. Now I said, and it was crazy. I ought to put more money on there, so I put $20 onto the next horse, and that paid 21 to 1. So you know, I left there with maybe $400 or $500 in my hands, and I started to do that. In this case, I went directly down to the finest men's shop on St. Catherine Street and bought myself a $200 suit.
And in 1946, a $200 suit was.
In 1946, people used to work at the RCA Victor, where I had worked before I went to the Navy, for $18 a week. Mm-hmm. And the good earners were $75 to $50 to $75 per week, you know, for labor.
So the demon spirits looked on you so favorably, they began to help you win in your gambling.
Then I went to other bookies, you see. And one day, I am told of the man at the cage, where you do your bet. He says, my boss would like to talk to you. And he said, you go right through that door over there. Oh, sure. So I know the guy says, come on in. The guy's sitting behind the big desk, smoking the big cigar. So he says, you're Roger. I says, yeah. He got up and walked around me. He said, you don't look that smart. I said, what, sir? You don't look that smart. He said that you could pick horses that are winners when they're supposed to be losers. Where do you get your help? What do you mean help? I'm not getting any help. I just happen to go and, oh no. We've been watching you here, he says, for a number of weeks. And you always leave here with some of our good money. And I'll tell you, buddy, if you want a list of all the bookies in Montreal, I'll give you a list of them. But he says, I want you out of here. And don't show up again. Because somebody's going to put a, you know what I mean. I said, okay, sir, I won't be back again. So it's a tough business, being gambling.
So even with the spirit's help, it was tough.
Yeah. Well, it's stuff he's going to shoot you, yes.
Yeah. The high priest would say a number of things to you when you were in these praise services, and you went to a number of them over a period of time. Mm-hmm. Talked about the issues of the great conflict. You've already touched on that a little bit. I want you to follow up on that a little bit more, Roger. Some of the things that you wrote in your book, Trip into the Supernatural, sounds a whole lot like what we as Christians today know as the Great Controversy. Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that he told you there? Well, he says that there is a great controversy going between the force of good and evil, between Christ and Satan. And they always praise the great master, Satan, as a super intelligent being that he is, beautiful to behold, and if he ever appears to you, you won't be able to look upon him because it'll be too bright. It'll just ruin your vision. The high priest said he was in Chicago, and the Spirit appeared to him and said,
Morneau and his buddy, George, has invited them to the service, and the fellow that is in charge while you're away says that he's going to wreck all the work that the spirits have done for the last few years to get these people into the society. So the high priest, which is in Chicago, picks up the phone and calls, and the spirit appeared to him, and he said the angel was so bright that he could not look upon him. And he says after he picked up the phone to dial, he couldn't dial the phone because of the fact that his vision was so terribly blurred by the light, the beautiful light of the bright being. And he asked, dial 0, and the operator came on, and she had to, dial for him. And they talk about many, many things in regards to, who's going to win this conflict.
Any discussion about fire and brimstone?
Yes. He says, the Bible people, talking about the Christians, they read in the Bible that, we're all going to land in a lake of fire and this and that. So that's baloney. He says the conflict is going to end peacefully. Christ is going to realize that he might as well abdicate the rights of this planet, take his few people on with him to his planet in the center of the galaxies, and we will be left with a master who will resurrect all his people that will be as numerous as the sand of the sea. See? And the master will rule forever and ever and ever. A happy people. And he named some of the people is going to be there. I don't want to mention the names because they're known to history. Yeah. So that was quite impressive.
Did you always feel, Roger, that these people were telling the truth?
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, they really had things down straight. But I was not satisfied with the answers. And there was something, and I understand now, it was the Spirit of God saying, hold back, fellow. Hold back. And the priest had talked about us thinking seriously about being initiated into the cult.
Right. So they let you come to sort of take a look-see, but you can't go back for several months.
Oh yeah, it's not a matter of whether you're going to be initiated or not. It's when.
Okay.
You see?
So they began to press you for a commitment.
So the priest said, look, fellas, I'm not going to pressure you into anything, okay? But I want to show you what the spirits can do for a devoted servant. We went downstairs, not through the staircase that I thought the worship room of the gods, but at the other end of the building. Went downstairs, and a number of times I'd gone there to the men's room, and I heard these typewriters clicking like the dickens. Man, it's going. I said, why do we have a lot of people typing in there, in that room? Well, we went there that evening, he knocked, and the man says, come on in. And there was all those typewriters moving along by themselves, typing at the speed that I'd never seen before. And not only that, the high priest says, I want to show you something clever. So he says, follow me. So we went around the table. There was like 2 long tables, and they had about 10 typewriters. And he says, now notice that the typewriter types to the right, then doesn't go back. It types back to the left. Isn't that something? I had never heard of things like that before. He said the spirits are doing the work. And he introduced us to the man. And the man is a lawyer. And he said, how much money did you make last year? Oh, he says, it's in the 6 figures. See?
So this lawyer had a business in the building that housed the worship room.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a whole room full of typewriters.
Yeah.
And he put paper in there, and demons
That's
typed.
all he did. Put typewriter, paper in there.
And what came out? What was it that came out?
Different briefs for court cases.
And so he would sell these to people?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He had this service to the legal profession.
And the high priest was
the United
showing
States and Canada.
So the high priest was showing you this to give you an idea about the kinds of blessings that you would
That's
receive?
right. Yeah.
But after you left that typewriter the room where the lawyer was. They tried to draw you into a commitment by getting you to make a public profession. Tell us about that.
Well, they have a super beautiful resort in the Laurentian Mountains, which is north of Montreal, north of Saint Agathe. Saint Agathe is a famous name there in Montreal. Montrealers, because they all go Saint Agathe or north there, you know, the summer home and that. So they had a big resort up there for their people, you know. So it's a closed society. And they had on October the 30th, Halloween, is that?
October 31.
31, the last day of October. They had what they call live animal sacrifices. I don't know what it is, but they did. We could never find out. By the time that the Lord pulled me out of there, I had not yet found out what it was. So you have this intrigue involved in there. And he talked about three very unique services that I attended there that stayed on my mind forever. One was entitled Christian Idolatry. Another one was entitled The Super Deception of a Glorious New Age, which actually applies to the New Age today. And this was 1946 that we're talking. And then the other one was Satan's Great General Council of the 1700s. And I must say the things that I heard there was an eye-opener. First of all, we'll go through the Great General Council.
Okay.
At the beginning of the 1700s, said the high priest, Satan and all his spirit counselors held a Great General Council with one purpose in mind. It was to prepare for the great industrial age that was soon to break upon the world. And Lucifer also foresaw another age that was to follow that, where tremendous scientific discoveries would be made by people, and we would enter a unique age that would change the way that everybody lives. It would also serve to usher in the end times and the close of the great controversy between the forces of good and evil. And the priest said that Lucifer had been studying the Bible. And he found in Daniel 12:4, where we are told about the time of the end, many shall learn to and full knowledge shall be increased. He understood it to be that we're getting to that point. And he had, with all the spirit counselors, to change their modes of operation in order, to ensnare people. And he devised a way whereby people would disqualify themselves from being members of Christ's kingdom.
And he was just very candid about this.
Oh, yeah.
Telling you and the rest of the group, 60 or 70 people there, the plans that
Just 100 people.
Lucifer had revealed to him.
And by the time the council came to a close, they had three major policies that were going to be followed. First, they were to see to it that humans would be made to believe that Satan and his angels do not really exist. Because up to that time, you could walk down a street of Paris and would have signs that would say, well, you have a soothsayer or a fortune teller of some type, and if you want to put a curse on someone, you could go and see this other old lady over there, the old witch, that's the way it goes. But now it had to change. Lucifer says, we have to make sure that people, humans, get to believe that Satan and his angels do not really exist.
You know, Roger, that's interesting because a recent research study report that I read indicated that in a national survey, I believe it's over 75% of people do not really believe in a real tangible devil. But there is one.
Oh. No, the next thing, the three-parts policy that they had adopted there, the second one was to find a way of being able to get total control of people's minds. And that would be done by taking hypnotism out of the realm of the occult and introduce it as a new science for the benefit of mankind.
So part of what the high priest told you was Satan's strategy to take total control of people's minds.
They felt that by taking hypnotism out of the realm of the occult and introducing it as a new science for the benefit of mankind. They could then use people of great renown, educators, people of capacity, that would do great things, such as supposedly regress people in time to former lives that they had. And of course, after the session is over, the person would not know a thing about ancient history, and the person that she or he has talked about performing, certain deeds, we'll say 3,000-4,000 years ago. But this was their strategy. Now, what this would do for the thing is this, that it would create in the minds of the general public, solidly set in the mind of the general public, an unwavering trust in that great deception. In other words, people could, they would believe it. This person was hypnotized, was regressing time to, former lives, and did this and did that, and no deception. Maybe Alexander the Great, we'll say, and some of the generals and people like that. And the person, after the session is over, comes out of hypnotism, and he or she doesn't know what she's talking about. So now this would be a way of de-Christianizing the Western world through the avenue of mysticism. Now the time came when Lucifer decided that he had to choose a person to initiate this thing. And Franz Mesmer, which was an Austrian physician, was chosen. Because
the priest told you all of this?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Because he was most capable. Mesmer originated a theory called animal magnetism, later on named mesmerism. Mesmer was led by the spirits to believe, this is what the priest said, was led by the spirits to believe that certain persons have a magnetic influence within themselves, so to speak, that would cause them to have great power over other persons, even to the point of placing them into a trance. And at that time, that was readily accepted by people in general, at the time that Mesmer lived. So people realized, some people have the capacity to put you into a trance. That's the way. Now, by the time that he died, in 1815, a lot of the physicians in Europe were using hypnotism as a means of anesthesia.
Now, hypnotism is the same as mesmerism?
That's right. Okay. So mesmerism that's been developed to a higher degree of refinement. And the priest went on saying that the plan of Satan to deceive the human family this way, he says, is the most intriguing thing to his mind. And he went on saying how it was going to be brought about. He said that a fellow by the name of Darwin and another fellow by the name of Thomas Henry Huxley would be used by the spirits because in their childhood they had been hypnotized by medical doctors, and they figured that they would be real good subjects to lead the people into this belief that they had, that Satan wanted to bring into people's lives.
Now, what were those 3 points again, Roger? The 3 things were, number 1, that they did not want Satan did not want the human family to think that he or his angels existed.
Right.
The second point that you made had to do with taking control of people's minds.
That's right.
The third point was what?
Was to destroy the Bible without burning it.
Okay.
See?
And what was his strategy on that?
On that, it was very interesting. Because after the Great General Council, it was decided that Satan would tutor Charles Darwin personally in setting up the principles of his theories of evolution. He was tutored by Lucifer himself, fallen Lucifer. And at that time, it was understood, Satan and his spirit counselors understood that if a person was led to believe in the theory of evolution, it would, in his life, destroy completely the creation week of the Bible, the fall of man, and plan of redemption. It would do away with it.
In one fell swoop.
Yeah. Now, he made a unique statement. He said that according to the spirits, anyone that teaches a theory of evolution is considered to be a minister of a great religious system. See, they call it the religious system, the theory of evolution, because it is a system of schooling people and getting them to disqualify themselves from being members of Christ's kingdom. And he said that every teacher of that theory is recognized by the spirits as a person of great value and receives a very special unction from Satan himself, giving great power to induce spiritual blindness, to convince and convert. 3 capacities are given to those teachers of the theory. Then, that's not all. The priest says that Satan considers the teachers of the theory of evolution to be so valuable to him that in the sight of all the inhabitants of the galaxies, he assigns a retinue of bright, beautiful angels to follow that educator all the remainder of his life. And that in the sight of the inhabitants of the galaxies is the greatest honor that he can bestow upon his workers, upon mankind, and to, until the controversy is finished. That was quite enlightening.
Now the high priest was talking just sort of like a preacher would talk up front. Was he enthusiastic? Did he seem like he had bought into this and was excited about it?
Oh yeah, he believed it 100%, no question about it, so everything.
Why would he be so excited about spirits trying to deceive human beings? Because obviously out of this council of the 1700s, deception was a major part of the strategy. Why?
Well, he says it's deception. It's like politics. You believe in one candidate, the other person believes in the other candidate, and they're fighting to get the position, and it doesn't matter who's going to be the smartest. And with Lucifer, the fallen cherubim, he's very smart. He's going to win, and Christ will abdicate the rights of the planet. He's going to resurrect his people, have established his kingdom that lasts for ever and ever. God won't be able to destroy him because it would be against God's, the Creator's nature to destroy Lucifer in the fire. Beside that, he said, spirits now, human spirits, have the capacity now to outlive fire. He says, you don't believe it? Go to India or some of those countries where they have firewalkers. And it's done by the power of the human spirits. These people are energized by human spirits, so they can walk on those hot coals without burning themselves.
And this is what the high priest said.
And he says, if they want to use fire, they can use it. It's not going to burn anybody. So that's the way they believe.
So this high priest was almost talking to your group in an evangelistic fervor.
Oh yeah, because he figures that he's going to be one of the higher ups in the great kingdom.
Okay. Now, of the group that was there that night, 60, 70 people, I think you've mentioned before.
Yeah, it varied.
How many of those were people who were hardcore members, and how many of them were new inductees?
Well, we were the only two youngsters.
You and your friend. And how old were you at that time, Roger?
I was about 20.
20 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 20 years old.
Did you have a feeling of awe over the fact that you had been chosen?
Yes, in a way. And then I got thinking about this. When am I going to have to pay the price? The cost. My parents had brought me up like this. If you get involved with evil, you're going to reap what you sowed. So you want to be upright in life. And if you associate with evildoers, they'll probably land you in jail or somewhere else that you wouldn't want to be. So there's always a price to be paid.
So you had that little something maybe instilled by your mother and father a long time ago that kept you from making that full commitment.
Now, one of the things that really amazed me and shocked me and made me sick at heart. It's when the priests talk about Christian idolatry.
What is Christian idolatry? The priest mentioned that word.
Yeah.
Tell us what he said, Roger.
He said that Christian idolatry is the most grandiose or great deception that has ever been brought upon the human family, upon mankind. And he says, and he boasted that demon spirits are continually defiling Christian churches through the avenue of necromancy by using a form of spirit worship that involves hundreds of millions of Christians into idolatry without their being aware of it.
Now, what is necromancy? Define necromancy for me.
Their belief, popular belief of necromancy, is to conjure the spirits of the dead.
So you can speak with someone who has died.
Right.
Like the seance that you originally went to was the practice of necromancy.
Now, the priest says that the super deception is brought about in only one way. Through the deceptive belief that man has an immortal soul that lives on after death. And he said that constitutes idolatry through necromancy. So he says there are hundreds of millions of Christians that are practicing idolatry. What do you think? They're glorifying God. See?
Because they believe that the soul is immortal.
Yeah.
They may not be talking to the supposed spirits of the dead.
Contrary to popular belief, necromancy does not consist of conjuring the spirits of the dead. The reason being that man is totally mortal and does not possess an immortal soul. So, who are they talking to? He says, they're friendly demon spirits that have always found over the centuries great delight in impersonating apparitions, departed loved ones, and persons of great renown.
Now, friendly demon spirits.
Friendly demon spirits.
Are there more than one kind of demon spirits, Roger?
Well, there's three main divisions, and then there's divisions within those divisions. You have the friendly demon spirits that seem to have the finesse and the refinement, and they're not upset about what happened when they were thrown out of heaven, from what I gather. Then you have the warriors. They like to bring misery and destruction in the lives of people. Then you have the oppressors. The oppressors are the real wicked spirits that hate God with all of their, the Creator with all of their might, you know. So he went on explaining. He says, now, necromancy is in reality a belief, a religious belief. People believe that the dead have entered into a higher state of existence than they had when they were alive. Also that they are in a position and have the capacity to help the living here on earth. See? Then he said, he says this is where things get really interesting. He said, according to the great master, a person does not have to supposedly call upon the spirits of the dead to receive help, you see, to be involved in necromancy. All he needs to do is to believe in life after death. Because he said, necromancy is the belief that man is human, as a human being, has an immortal soul. So anybody that believes that man has an immortal soul is involved in necromancy. It's that simple. That's the way he explained it. Yeah.
So how does that constitute idolatry?
By people believing that they are either talking to the saints, you see, the spirits of the dead saints, or a dead relative, or a dead person of some type. And you take, for instance, like Loretta Lynn. She says on national television, and I have the data on it, that I heard it myself. She said that she was made successful in her singing career by a dear friend of hers that was the same age as she, and died when she was 18 years of age. And Loretta was trying to get into the singing world, you know, but she says, I had no success at all. Until one night I was sitting in bed reading a book. And she says, who walks right through the wall but my friend, the spirit of my friend? And she says, Loretta, I'm going to make you a very famous person in singing Western country music, and I will be with you all the time. Trust me. And she says she had a big concert once, and she was coming down with this bad cold. And she thought that her voice was going to give. She talked to her spirit and felt that she was going to be helped. And she got on the stage and she started to sing, and right in the middle of where she really needed the power, no power at all. And her spirit friend tapped her on the shoulder and started to sing for her. She said her voice went through me, the power. See?
And you saw this in a television documentary?
Yeah. This was, I believe, 1976 it took place. Now, the priest explained that when people believe in this business, they are actually opening themselves to be completely deceived by demon spirits, because it gives the demon spirits an opportunity to impersonate the dead, see, and for people to believe their lies. And the priest says that thrills first of all, it says it brings the great master the respect and the reverence that is due to his great name. And it makes all the other spirits exceedingly happy, because they are the ones that have worked to lead people to believe in life after death. You see? And they rejoice also. And that's the extent of what
Christian idolatry is all about. Friendly spirits, just to digress for just a moment. You mentioned 3 different categories, and the friendly spirits are the ones that love to impersonate a being, a historian or something.
They specialize in them.
In your experiences in the praise services or in the worship room or the other places where you were, any of the places you were, did you ever witness an event where necromancy or even something that would be popularly called channeling today took place, where you actually heard the voice of someone in response to someone's questions?
Yeah, a number of times, but there was one time in particular that fascinated me because it was unique in one way. The priest told us that there was a French historian that was affiliated with Montreal, University of Montreal, which is a French university, and the English university is McGill. So the University of Montreal is the French university. And this man was from Paris. He was from Paris, but he's affiliated with the university. And he wanted to have some details in regards to Napoleon Bonaparte and one of his generals. So, by the way, there are also in other parts of the world elite spirit worshippers like the group that we had in Montreal. And he mentioned there that he said, you guys are fortunate when my friend and I went in, because you're right in time to see something very interesting. My friend there is having his devotions in the worship room of the gods, and he will use a trance medium to converse with certain demon spirits that will inform him in regards to ancient history about Napoleon. And sure enough, we went down there, and somebody came up and said he's ready for the session, and we went down there, and he said he would need 3 people. You would need 3 people, but he wanted 5 people that volunteer to be the channel for the spirit. Okay, so he was 3 of them were chosen there, and everyone like to sit down. And the man shook his head like a little bit like this. His eyes went glazed, and he stayed at it for a half hour. And the spirit spoke to him. Said, I'm a spirit counselor, and what would you like to know? And he had a clipboard, the historian, and asked him some questions.
This historian was from Paris.
Yeah.
And he was wanting information,
some detailed information
about Napoleon
Bonaparte and one of his generals.
And so he asked the questions of one of these human beings that was channeling.
Oh yeah, the voice changed and everything. The voice changed of the person completely.
Okay.
And
it identified itself as a spirit guide.
Oh yeah, spirit counselor, yeah.
Okay, a spirit counselor. And then proceeded to tell him all the events that he was asking,
yes.
Answer his questions?
And there was a certain question that was asked, and the spirit counselor said, I will have Lord Remy and Lord Alphonse duplicate, in other words, the dialogue that had taken place.
Oh,
And the two other
drama.
Yeah,
A little
and the two other
Men
fulfill what he was looking for. But the one thing that interests me is the mayor of Montreal, Cavalier Hood. During World War II, at the beginning of the war, he was very controversial in regards to the war effort. He would tell the French-speaking boys not to go into the armed service, see, because you're going to go and shed your blood for the British, you know, and we're their servants, so to speak, and all that, and he didn't want him to go into war, and they put him in prison. He was jailed for the length of the war. For this now, the man said, I would like to have you tell me to the Spirit to give me part of the speech that was given by Cavalier Hood on the steps of the Montreal City Hall on a certain date. There are different versions of what has taken place, and you, Lord, would know the exact one.
Now, the mayor of Montreal was still alive.
Was still alive.
And this historian is asking what was actually said at a speech.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Spirit Counselor said, I'm sorry I can't help you. All of my activities and my people have taken place in Europe. However, after my departure, our departure, other spirits will come and help you. And sure enough, the guy vibrated a little bit, and he's back, and he said, boy, how long? He said, 20 minutes, been used as a channel. So they, again, the Spirit entered into him, and the Spirit said he was a Spirit Counselor that could give him the information that he was looking for. So, again, it was given verbally, and it was the voice of Cavalier Hood.
Now, how did you know that it was the voice?
Well, because of the fact, you see, I was a youngster in those days, just about ready to go into the army. And Cavalier, we used to listen to the radio. We had no television in those days, so it was only radio, and read newspaper. And all the speeches of Cavalier made, and all of it was on the radio all the time. And in those days, they had no tape recorders, just as we have now. So Cavalier would have to go to the Canadian Broadcasting Studio, where they made a record, a real phonograph record. And then he played it over and over, for the rest of the day.
So you listened to those as a teenager before you went into the army, so you knew his voice.
I knew his voice really good. So I said to George, he was sitting next to me, he said, isn't it amazing? He said, if you think that's amazing, wait, he says, until the spirits impersonate one of the departed people that you know personally, like an uncle or a brother or a sister or something like that. He says, that is unique. But that's the way it was. You are able to reproduce a voice, man, and just perfection. The spirits are exceedingly proud of this. Because, and this also was right up my alley, the priest said that as the times on this planet gets more and more difficult, and calamities of all kinds are striking the planet more and more frequently, demon spirits are going to impress people with the importance of Sunday sacredness.
Roger, when I was a teenager back in the 1970s, I remember a song that came out talking about the age of Aquarius. And since then, we've seen the development of the New Age, and I wondered if back when you were involved in spirit worship, if they talked about New Age at all.
Oh yes, it was a big thing that was coming up. One of the major deceptions of the last days. And the priest told us
لوسيفر قرر ان هو او ده اللي بتاع مخططه هو والفريق بتاعه ازاي يعني يحرموا حتى المسيحيين من الملكوت، ازاي يضيعوا الكتاب المقدس، ازاي يدمروا الكتاب من غير ما يحرقوه.
We talked for quite a while, and then he said, could I have a little bit more of your time? I want to do something very fascinating. He says the grand plan, the master's grand plan for harvesting the nations, for harvesting the multitudes of the earth into his cause, just before the close of the great controversy between the forces of good and evil. So we continued, after we expressed ourselves that we're deeply interested to know more about the activities of spirits. And he said it's going to be done in a unique manner. This grand plan is going to take people are going to eat the stuff. Because it says spirits, demon spirits, will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet unless something seriously proper is done to avoid it. And he went on saying that they will claim to have out-of-body experiences. Are you familiar with out-of-body experiences?
I've read about it.
In other words, so there's some persons are supposed to be able to, they believe in their immortal soul.
Astral projection.
Yes, right. Goes into different parts of the world and sees things and come back and then they write all about it.
I've heard of that.
So, due to the fact that the millions of the earth, people, believe in people having an immortal soul, it has to be readily accepted when the spirits will, through a trance medium, converse with influential people of the land, you see.
Now, what is a trance medium?
It's a channeler today.
What is known today as a channeler?
Channeler, yeah. Okay. Shirley MacLaine's experience of getting involved with spiritism and with the supposed inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies, I taped the whole thing. It's 3 hours.
And you were hearing the fulfillment of what this high priest had said 45 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So he went on explaining about the fact that the spirits will show themselves willing to give valuable guidance that will not only help people avoid the destruction of the planet, but it will cause them to enter into a higher state of existence. For instance, he said the spirits will promise, and this is a big word, promise, that if their recommendations are followed carefully, they will usher in a glorious new age of peace and prosperity, and there'll be there'll be no more wars, see, there'll be no more famines, there'll be no more people getting unhappy with one another, neighbors will love neighbor, and social unrest will not take place no more. There'll be perfect happiness for 1,000 years. That's what the Spirit is going to promise.
لوسيفر قرر ان هو او ده اللي بتاع مخططه هو والفريق بتاعه ازاي يعني يحرموا حتى المسيحيين من الملكوت، ازاي يضيعوا الكتاب المقدس، ازاي يدمروا الكتاب من غير ما يحرقوه.
Almost like the Garden of Eden created all over again.
And now we find that a lot of preachers are preaching the great age of glorious new age of victory over wars, victory over social unrest, victory over famines, and victory over all kinds of...
and he used the words New Age to describe what was coming.
It would be a glorious new age, yeah. And this is exactly what the movement is all about today. And he went on and said, as I said a little earlier, that as life on this planet becomes more and more difficult, and calamities will strike the planet more and more frequently, the spirits at that time are going to put all their effort to impress religious leaders, to bring before the masses of the earth the sacredness of Sunday. See? They will teach Sunday sacredness. And with the religious leaders, looking forward to 1,000 years of perfect peace on earth,
لوسيفر قرر ان هو او ده اللي بتاع مخططه هو والفريق بتاعه ازاي يعني يحرموا حتى المسيحيين من الملكوت، ازاي يضيعوا الكتاب المقدس، ازاي يدمروا الكتاب من غير ما يحرقوه.
They will put all their effort into it. Then laws will be passed by governments. One person asked, what's going to happen about people that don't believe in the Spirit's recommendation? The priest said there's no problem at all. Laws will be passed by governments that will force people to go along with it regardless of whether they believe in it or not. And he says the law enforcement officers will explain to people, make it clear that such a law is necessary to assure the well-being of all people. He says the laws will be passed, no effort at all. And then he went on and he said about the fact that the vulnerability of the sun, which in ages past was such an irritant to the Creator. All these great nations and other nations, the smaller ones, were all involved in sun worship. And in those centuries, the Creator found that teaching of worship of the sun to be a terrible irritant. And he said, it is going again to take place. But not in worshiping the sun, in remembering Sunday to keep it holy.
يوم الحد فاليوم اللي قام فيه المسيح مش بتاع الشمس، لكن بتاع الشمس البر اللي في أجنحته الشفاء يسوع المسيح. وأما الأيام فكلها أصبحت مقدسة. فأما السبت هو نفسه قال للسبت لأجل الإنسان مش الإنسان لأجل السبت. أما هذا الرجل فسبتي شيطاني إبليس وجاي يضل لو أمكن المختارين. أما منال فحتة منه بالظبط.
He made a statement I will never forget. He says, by the observance of the day upon which the master, Satan, has placed the unction of his authority and power, he receives homage, regardless of whom people claim to worship. Isn't that something? So, can you understand now why I had 28 Bible studies in 1 week and started to go to church on Sabbath? And I never missed since until I became sick.
The issue of a day of worship came up in that meeting. Was Sunday the only day mentioned?
Well, you see, the priest mentioned, yes, about the fact Satan has chosen Sunday as his day. The Creator has chosen the 7th day of the week. Lucifer has chosen to call his day the first day of the week, Sunday. See? And regardless of what people claim to worship, worshiping God, the Creator, by observing that day, that particular day, they are bringing homage and respect.
Now, at that time in your life, you were 20 years old or so. Had you ever heard of a Seventh-day Adventist?
Never in my life.
In that meeting,
He didn't talk about Seventh-day Adventist. He talked strictly about Adventist.
Well, they just talked, but they did. The word Adventist was mentioned.
The priest was telling us that necromancy, as I mentioned earlier,
لوسيفر قرر ان هو او ده اللي بتاع مخططه هو والفريق بتاعه ازاي يعني يحرموا حتى المسيحيين من الملكوت، ازاي يضيعوا الكتاب المقدس، ازاي يدمروا الكتاب من غير ما يحرقوه.
is the belief that the dead have entered into a higher state of existence, etc. And he says, for centuries, friendly demon spirits have worked diligently to establish and uphold in the religious convictions of all people the belief that man has an immortal soul. See? Then he boasted about the fact that the master was so smart in that he had deceived the whole world, even in this age of great scientific knowledge and understanding. Then one person put his hand up, and that priest says, yes, we want to say something? He says, what about the Adventists? You can't count them deceived regarding the state of the dead. And I got a question. What about, how come that they can't be brought under the great deception? The priest said, you're right. I apologize, says here, I made a mistake. When I said that all the millions of people living on the face of this planet, everybody, was honoring the great master. I forgot the Adventists. They're so few in number, when you figure the billions and all people, I didn't even think of mentioning it. So I'm sorry. Then he says, secondly, the reason why they can't be brought into the great deception, let me explain about it. Now he said, my next statement is going to upset some of you. But what I'm telling you is the honest truth. It is factual. It's reality.
لوسيفر قرر ان هو او ده اللي بتاع مخططه هو والفريق بتاعه ازاي يعني يحرموا حتى المسيحيين من الملكوت، ازاي يضيعوا الكتاب المقدس، ازاي يدمروا الكتاب من غير ما يحرقوه.
The fact that the Adventists observe the biblical Sabbath of creation and reverence the Creator on that day, it makes it impossible for the spirits to deceive them. They are given very special help and great spiritual insight. And he said, under these conditions, they are not ordinary people. And that stayed with me, just like this. And when I heard the word Adventist, when Sarah told me later on, which we're going to cover later, I asked him, I said, what denomination do you belong to? He said, I'm a Seventh Adventist. What's that again? He said, I'm a Seventh Adventist. I said, is that the same thing as Adventist? Oh yeah, he says, a lot of people call us the Adventists. They don't talk about the 70s, same thing. Boy, I was interested.
I bet you were. Now,
I wanted to know what his Bible said.
Yeah, I bet you did. Because that was the one group that under question only, the high priest of the demonic worship house.
Yeah.
The thing that he had said to you was, this is the one group that can't be deceived.
That's right.
And so somewhere back inside that resistance you had came out. You awoke.
A few months later, that experience, unique experience, was instrumental in helping me make a decision for Christ. And also, I had no hesitation to join myself to God's commandment-keeping people because of the fact that I knew what kind of people they were. Every moment of all those Bible studies was precious, precious, precious.
How long after you became a Seventh-day Adventist, or after you learned of Seventh-day Adventists, did you read the book Great Controversy by Ellen White?
Well, I joined the church. I first had a Bible study in October of '46. In April of '47, I was baptized into the church. In September of that year, Hilda and I got married. And the French church in Montreal gave us, as a wedding gift, the Conflict of the Ages series. And I had not read the Great Controversy up to that.
But then you read it.
Yeah.
And what went through your mind when you read the book Great Controversy, thinking back on the experience you'd had maybe just a year or so before?
That's right.
What went through your mind?
This person is inspired. This person has got knowledge that nobody else has on the face of the earth, except, the spirits that I was mentioning, because it's so unique.
Well, I find it very remarkable that they were willing to share the strategy that Satan is working on with this group. Of course, their plan was that it would never get out.
That's right.
Under seal of death.
That's right. Their plan is that you don't have to worry about saying anything by the Great Master. Because as soon as anybody strays some, the spirits will tell the high priest right away what's taking place. They did with my Bible study that Wednesday night. I studied on Monday and Tuesday. By Wednesday night, the spirit counselor appeared to the high priest and says, you have one of your defectors. He says, that mono guy, you're going to get rid of him. Because he's out there studying the Bible with the Adventists. The people that the Master hates most on the face of the earth.
لوسيفر قرر ان هو او ده اللي بتاع مخططه هو والفريق بتاعه ازاي يعني يحرموا حتى المسيحيين من الملكوت، ازاي يضيعوا الكتاب المقدس، ازاي يدمروا الكتاب من غير ما يحرقوه.